Welcome to Diary of a Mompreneur. This is your host, Kim Sutton. Considering I only posted my first video to the Diary of a Mompreneur Mom Chauffeur playlist last night, I thought it would be great to come on live this morning and share a little bit about myself, tell you what I intend to do with this show, take questions. So if you want to go into chat, please feel free to post something. I'm looking over here like you can see it, but you can't. And then talk about the exhaustion that comes along with big dreams. Let me start first with the intention of this playlist. I am a mompreneur with 5 children, a wife, a lot of clients, a lot of work. I work way more hours than I would like to admit, but I do admit them. I do admit my hours. I admit how hard I work, how many hours, how I trick myself into staying focused and hitting my goals. And I know that there are so many moms who are entrepreneurs who, number one, feel a struggle, feel a disdain for the word mompreneur. Or number two, feel like they're not getting enough done, feel like they push and they push and they push. And no matter how hard they work, they're just not hitting those goals. Number three, they see the people on social media posting about their huge successes, about how they're having 6 and 7 figure launches, how they're buying brand new houses, big cars. Look at all these accom- uh, why can I not say that word? Accomplishments that I'm having in my business. Here's how you can do it too. That's not me. I was one of the mompreneurs back in 2016 who was watching everybody on social media feeling like an utter failure. I had newborn twins. I had a 16-month-old on top of them. Actually, this was 2015, and I had 2 older children. And I was working 20 to 22-hour days. Thankfully, I have an amazingly supportive husband who was getting up in the middle of the night, but I was missing all the big landmarks, all the big celebrations in my family. My family saw more of the back of my head over 5 years than they did of my face. In 2018, I am ashamed to admit that I ate dinner with my family a whole 10 times. The rest of the time, my dinner was eaten at my desk so that I could continue pushing forward. I was chasing money. I wasn't following my heart. I had no idea what my purpose was. I had no idea how I was really going to help people. I had a calling to help entrepreneurs get away from their businesses and back to their families, back to their beds. But I didn't know how to mesh it with the work that I am known for, the work that I am paid for most often. So let me segue into what I do as my paying job. I am a marketing and business automation specialist working with 6 to 7 figure business and life coaches. And what that means is I'm building their marketing funnels. I am setting up their systems behind the scenes so that if somebody does this, then this happens. If this happens, this happens. I think you get the point. What I found though was that I was so busy building the clients' businesses that I completely forgot about my own. I was working 18 to 22 hours a day building my clients' businesses that I wasn't spending any time in or on my business. I have a teenager who plays competition travel league soccer. And during a recent season, I showed up to one game. I am divorced from his dad. His dad handles all of that. But I found a gazillion and one excuses as to why I needed to work and why I couldn't go. And it feels horrible now looking back. And if you're one of those mompreneurs who is experiencing that right now, I want you to know that it's a season. We can work our way out of this doing life. Excuse me. So let me tell you a little bit more about myself. I'm Kim Sutton. As I already said, I'm the host of the Positive Productivity Podcast, which has been around since 2016. I was an interior architect for a decade before I lost my job in 2008. And in 2010, I divorced my high school sweetheart, who was my first husband. I had a business that I started in 2005. It was an e-commerce shop selling scrapbooking supplies. And if I were to say that I did everything wrong in that business, that would be an understatement. I had credit cards that I maxed to the brim to buy inventory because I thought that the more inventory that I bought, the more inventory that I could sell. And then I had this even better genius idea that my local distributor, my local-ish distributor, was only a day journey away via UPS. So I thought, why don't I just start putting all of the distributor's inventory up onto my shop? And when somebody purchases one of those products, I can buy it, I can ship it within 24 hours, and the customer will never know. Sounds like it should be a great idea, but it's not. What happened was because I was selling scrapbooking supplies, and I didn't even scrapbook. I need to preface this by saying I did not scrapbook. It was nothing that I was interested in. To this day, I've created probably a half dozen scrapbook layouts. I had $100,000 plus of inventory, and in all that time, I created a half dozen layouts. Please do not start a business that you do not have some type of interest or passion in. I did it all for the money. What happened was, though, that I posted hundreds of different styles of paper, if not thousands, and customers started hearing about me. They started purchasing paper, but they weren't purchasing a lot. They were purchasing one sheet of some of them purchased dozens, if not 100 different styles. And when you buy one sheet, I have to buy the whole pack of 25 to 50. That was that was horrifying to me because I didn't think about this, and I didn't wanna go back and tell the customers, "Well, I don't actually have all that paper. I need to buy it. Can we maybe cancel your order because that's gonna cost a lot for me?" I mean, the customer was buying sheets of paper at 50 cents to a dollar a piece, but when I needed to go and buy the whole pack for 50, I was spending $25 to fulfill their order of 50 cents. Ouch. I don't know about you, but investing 25 to $50 to make 50 cents to a dollar, that's not a good investment. Go buy stock. You'll have a better luck with stock than you will building a business the way that I did. I was working a full-time job when I started that business, and I was up until 3, 4 AM every morning fulfilling orders. I would go to sleep until 5, get up at 6, have to be out the door at 6:30 so I could drive an hour to my job. I live in suburban to rural Ohio. So when I say I drove an hour, I'm not talking about driving an hour through the inner city or through congested roadways. I'm talking about driving an hour on open country highway. I was often trying to cut die cuts in my car with my handheld die cut maker. Don't do that. It's bad enough trying to keep people off their cell phones while they're driving, but when you've got a busy, like, overstressed, overtired mompreneur trying to cut die cuts with paper in one hand and a die cutter in the other, balancing the steering wheel with her legs, that was not good. Thankfully, I never crashed physically, but I crashed hard mentally. By January of 2008, I had a just nervous breakdown. I was so sleep deprived that I was hallucinating. I was having trouble keeping up with my orders because of that backlog, caused by having to order all those papers. I mean, my credit cards were maxed. And when I told my now ex-husband that I was suicidal, he had me committed to the mental hospital. I'm thankful, but at the same time, I did not learn enough of a lesson. That isn't that's an understatement. In 2016, I went through another major bout of sleep deprivation and anxiety and depression. And what you will hear on this channel And on this playlist is stuff that you won't necessarily hear in any of the other videos that I post on YouTube or on the podcast. You're going to hear about my faith. And on that you're also going to get bloopers here. On that July night in 2016, I will say that God saved me and helped me see how uh, I could work sleep deprivation into the automation that I do. So I reclaimed my sleep in July 2016. I reclaimed some of my self care. But what I did not reclaim is the time that I was not giving to my family. That did not happen until 2019. And now in 2020, my nights and my weekends are mine. And it feels so good. And I want to help all the mompreneurs out there get to this state as well. So on this playlist, you're going to see random pre-recorded videos where I am out chauffeuring my kids around. I'm a Girl Scout troop co-leader and doing a quite crappy job, if I can say so myself. And I'm also a part-time soccer mom. As I said, my teenager's dad handles a lot of that. But I have random thoughts when I'm driving. They're random amazing thoughts. I also have chronic idea disorder. And a lot of those thoughts, I believe, deserve to be shared. They're thoughts that you won't necessarily find anywhere else. A lot of us entrepreneurs don't feel like we can share our imperfections. I'm different. Positive productivity is not. It's a far cry from perfection. And although this is Diary of a Mompreneur, this is going to be a far cry from perfection as well. I can't tell you how many times before I came on here today, I was trying to figure out how to clip up this piece of hair to get it out of my face and get it look good. I completely botched my lipstick. I didn't even know how to get my B.E.T.T.E.R connected to YouTube. My phone started dinging. There's things that happen in every day. Yeah, every day in our business and in our personal life that deserve to be shared. One thing I will not share, however, is the name of my children. Early in 2019, as a result of a very large Facebook group I experienced a number of death threats. And the person had gone on to my social media, looked up the name of my children, and sent me details about what they were going to do to my children and me. Since that day, I have not shared my kids' names. I'm very careful not to tag them. I understand that YouTube is also changing and we have to be careful about kid oriented content. I don't know that I'll be sharing any pictures of my kids, any video of my kids on this channel. I want to protect their safety. I want to protect their integrity. As a result of those death threats, I almost gave up on my business. I was ready to pull the plug on everything. It was appalling to me that anybody could actually send messages that were so disgusting and so hateful to somebody that they didn't even know. But I talked to my husband and he said, "The devil's fighting you. The more you are visible, the more haters you are going to get. So do you want to let the devil win or are you going to keep on pushing forward?" And in that moment, I sighed big like I'm sighing right now. And I said, I have to keep on going. God has a greater cause for what I'm doing. God has a purpose for what I'm doing, and I need to go save lives. I need to help entrepreneurs get away from their businesses and back into bed. And if I pull the plug right now, then I'm not going to be doing that. And yes, the devil is going to win. Let me tell you why I got those death threats. My Facebook group is virtual assistant jobs. When I started my business in 2012, I was a virtual assistant. And in 2013, I saw a different Facebook group called Social Media Jobs. And it clicked with me at that moment that I had never seen a virtual assistant jobs Facebook group. And I decided to start my own. Now, over time, that group has grown and grown and grown. I never expected it to grow as large as it has. And I stopped being a virtual assistant in 2014. Oh, the irony, right? The group is over 46,000 members now. And a lot of the members are overseas. And a lot of clients come into the group. They're This is not a conversational group. This is clients come in, they post their jobs, the VAs have the opportunity to contact the client. So there are clients who come in and want to pay $3 to $5 an hour. Just so you know, I do have a pretty substantial team in the Philippines. And I mean substantial because they are very impactful on my business. They are amazing. I love them dearly, and I hope that they love me too. What I've experienced, though, is that the minimum wage that many Filipino and overseas contractors can get paid in their local town is only a fraction of what they get paid when they go through this group. So I started a no bullying rule. If you don't have something nice to say about a job that's posted, move on. Why can't it be like that across all of social media? If you don't have something nice to say about somebody else's post, move on. I wish my kids would follow that rule. We don't need to be mean to people. Coincidentally, on my 40th birthday, and I have no problem sharing my age, my weight, my credit score. I've done it all on my podcast. On my 40th birthday, I, for some reason, logged in to the group, saw a post that was going very astray, reminded people that the group has a no bullying policy, and deleted offenders. I have a one strike you're out policy. Nobody should feel unsafe in my group. And as a result, I started receiving the death threats. The person said that I exploit international workers. That is not the truth. I give people opportunities. It is up to the virtual assistants in any of my groups, because I've since expanded to have groups for American clients and VAs, Canadian, Australian, European, s- um, Indian, African, and then there's a group specifically for Filipino workers. I give them the opportunity to set their own rates. I am not subcontracting. I am My team and I, our only purpose is to approve requests to get into the group and to check and approve posts that are going out to the group. We don't play matchmaker. We do not accept payments for clients who are hiring subcontractors. We are not the middleman. So all of that is off of me. As a result, however, of saying no bullying, move on, I did receive feedback from Filipino VAs saying, "Thank you, Kim. The minimum wage in my town is $1.50, and because of your group, I've been able to find work for $5 to $10 an hour." For those of you who are watching from America right now, I want you to think about what that would mean in your small town. I mean, in some small towns, it might actually be devastating. But imagine if the minimum wage in your small town, well, I think it's 9, let's just say it's 9 in my town here in Ohio. If somebody had the opportunity to make 10 times what they could in their small town compared to their minimum wage. So if somebody who could get a job at McDonald's for $9 an hour was able to get a job instead working virtually for $90 an hour. That's huge. That is life changing. That is what my business actually did for me. When I started my business in 2012, I thought that I was competing with international workers. I thought that I had to keep my rate similar to theirs. And because I was looking to satisfy an immediate need in my family, my husband had lost his job and was starting school. Um, my options were to get a third shift job at a gas station, making $9 an hour, or to become an online entrepreneur. So I started my business charging $8 an hour. $8 an hour is a far, 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 far cry from what I now bill and for what I now charge for my services. But my confidence isn't what it was then. My understanding of the value that I provide isn't what it was then. The skills and expertise that I have now are not what I had then. I've had to do a lot of growing up in the last 7 years. And I know that a lot of other entrepreneurs need encouragement, need support, need a helping hand to grow their value, grow their understanding of their value, grow their confidence. I want to see you do that. I don't want you to be afraid of being a mompreneur. I want you to be able to share your experiences without being ashamed. I had a client in 2019 tell me that I shouldn't be sharing. They said it was unprofessional. They said that my clients or the clients that I was whitelisting for had no reason to know what was going on in my life. And I think that is mm, unfortunate. I think I know that if a lot of us felt more relatable, if we knew we are not the only people going through this life situation, we wouldn't feel so alone in this entrepreneurial journey. In 2015, 2016, I thought I was a major F up. I'll try not to use the F word on any of my posts, although I am Christian and I do cuss a little. I thought I was an F up because I saw all these stories of 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs. I was not there yet. In full disclosure, I have not yet had a 6 figure year. I am really good at getting systems and processes set up for myself and then detouring to follow a big money opportunity. When I detour off of my purpose path and start chasing money instead, that's a problem. All of a sudden, my focus goes and I get horribly distracted, don't reach my goals, and don't accomplish anything good for the year or the month or the day or the week. But when I'm able to come back in the center and focus again, that's when amazing things happen. We are 14 days into January, and I have accomplished more in the first 2 weeks of this year than I would have to say that I accomplished in the first 8 months of last year. I had a few big eye opening moments in the middle of the year that created a shift in my focus and made me realize how I needed to stay true to me. And I want you to know that you need to stay true to you. I want to address the topic of the word mompreneur. I was reading Rachel Hollis's not mom, girl, stop apologizing, I believe in early 2018. And she expressed that she doesn't like the word mompreneur or ladypreneur or womanpreneur, mom boss, any of those. I understand where she's coming from. When we see a male entrepreneur, you often don't see words like dadpreneur, daddypreneur, manpreneur. It's just entrepreneur, small business owner. I pers- I'm mixed. I got to be honest. I'm mixed. I don't know if I should be using it, but at the same time I know that there is a community of mompreneurs who can instantly relate when they see that word. I am also tired of hearing excuses from entrepreneurs in general, men or women, about why they can't get things done. I have 5 kids and I am getting things done. I am hitting goals out of the ballpark left and right. And it's because of the systems and processes that I have set up in my business, as well as my goal tracking methods that I use. You can go watch some of the other videos on my playlist to hear about that. But it's time to ditch the excuses. Don't let being a mompreneur, being an entrepreneur with kids hold you back from reaching your goals. Period. I have 5 kids. I make time for my business. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning not to exercise. There's nothing that I detest worse than exercising. I realize I have to do it. Don't get on me about exercising your nutrition. You probably won't like my responses. But I was up at 5 o'clock because I had a couple goals that I wanted to make or to reach today. That's not to say that I sacrificed my sleep. I was asleep by 10:30, 11 last night. I do really well on 6 hours to 7 hours of sleep every night. I wake up naturally after 6 to 7 hours and I'm wide awake. I cannot get back to sleep. Please do not be going to bed at 1 to 2 a.m. and be getting up at 4 or 5 just because all the internet gurus say that's what you need to do. And I have a book on my shelf right behind me. It's Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And he talked in the book about getting up earlier, getting up earlier, getting up earlier. Why? Do what feels awesome to you. Do what makes the most sense for you and your business and your productivity and your goals. But don't do it because somebody else says you should. And I also want to make a point of don't listen to everything that all the internet gurus tell you. I personally know that there are some so-called experts out there who say they are working 3 days a week, and it couldn't be further from the truth. They are, and I know this because I've worked with them. They're working 7 days a week. They are texting me at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not working with them any longer. I need to be working with people who are truthful, who have integrity, who provide what the customers bought, who don't try to bait and switch. And there are way too many people like that. I've had clients who up and who spent thousands, and I mean 5 to 10 thousands for a funnel creation program, who had to fly out of the country to create their funnel, spent 3 days in a workshop and left with incomplete funnels. And it's not because they didn't have the work done. It's up to us as the service provider to make sure that our clients are satisfied. Do things happen? Do kids puke in the middle of the day and we have to handle it? Yeah, we do. But we can always say something came up. There's exhaustion that comes along with big dreams. Last night I was driving home from soccer practice with my 14-year-old. Yes, it's January in Ohio and there is soccer practice. And he said, actually, I apologized to him. He has a tournament in a few weeks that's out of state, and I apologized to him because I will not be going. He will be going with his dad. If my little party of 5 that's here when the older boys aren't here, if we go, that's 2 hotel rooms. It's out of state, it takes me away from work. Trying to manage 3 kids, 6 and younger at a soccer tournament is crazy insane. It's hard enough to contain them for an hour during one game, but when you have a weekend with 4 games and you're in a hotel where they undoubtedly will not get any sleep, it's just making for a bad situation. So I apologized to my son, and he said, "Mom, you don't need to apologize. I understand." And I thanked him. And he said, "But when you make hundreds of millions, do you think you can help me buy my own house?" And in that moment, when he said, "When you're making hundreds of millions," I sighed big. Immediately, it sounded exhausting to me. I thought for the longest time that I wanted to make tons of money. I thought that that was the focus of my business. I thought when I get more money, when I get more money, when I have a 6-figure year, when I have a 7-figure year, when I have a multiple 7-figure year. But I've seen the work that comes in with just getting to 6 figures, and it's damn exhausting. I can't wait until I pass over the first 6 figures. But it's these little baby steps that I've been taking, setting up my standard operating procedures, getting the right team set up, learning that emptying my inbox is not my first priority. These are the things that had to get done in order for me to cross that line. I had to s- I had to reclaim my focus on me. I had to reclaim my focus for my business so I can be focusing on it instead of in it. And that's what you need to be doing too. If you are exhausted in your business, I want you to look at how you're spending your time, because there is a major exhaustion that comes with big dreams. And I'll tell you that the closer we get to the top of the mountain, the harder the climb's going to be. You can watch any documentary about climbing Mount Everest, and I would have to guess that there are probably more people that quit the climb within this close to the top of the mountain than do at any other Is that not to say that they don't quit at any other point during the climb? No, but that's when it's the toughest. I see so many of my clients quit when they're that close. They just disappear. They have the ideas, they know the work that they have to do, but they're this close to the goal and it scares the crap out of them. Now I have to go visible. Now I have to go live, but I'm afraid of pushing the button. I'm afraid of pushing that red button. I was afraid of pushing that red button for years, but I've realized that in order to support the people that I am here to support, in order to keep you from having the horrifying thoughts like I did that I needed to give it all up, I need to be visible. I need to be sharing my message. It's going to be scary. We're going to have death threats. We're going to have haters. We're going to cry because somebody said something mean, did something mean, filed a chargeback, decided not to pay their invoice, lied about us behind our back. But we have to keep on going because we're only going to do our life's work if we don't give up. My intention for this channel is to come on once or twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays probably, and talk live like I've done today. I would love if you would join me in the chat. At some point, I might figure out how to set up a call in so that you can call in and ask your questions. But for right now, I'm loving just, for lack of a better expression, spewing the randomness that comes to my mind as I'm chatting. If you've liked this conversation today, if you've liked any of the topics, if you have input on any of the topics, please comment down below, like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I would love to hear what topics you want me to discuss. Please, however, do not ask me how I do it all, because I have one answer that I can give you right now. I don't. There is so much that I don't do in any given day. I mean, I'm looking around my office right now, and while 80% of it is clean, the other 10% still has um scraps of where the cat decided to rip up the exercise mat that's underneath my exercise bike. My nails desperately need polish, but when I'm working on writing my first book and I don't want nail polish on my keyboard. I also don't feel like spending hours of time covering up my grays or at the nail salon. So I don't do it all. My husband does the cooking because I burn most of the meals that I cook. But that's one of that was one of his selling points from day one when I met him. My older kids have chores. They take care of the kitchen and the laundry. I do far from doing it all. And there are times when I have guilt, but then I have to get over the guilt and realize that I am here for a purpose, and it doesn't mean getting my hair done, getting my nails done, doing the laundry, doing the dishes, and learning how to cook. It means following my heart and serving the people that I'm meant to serve, and that's what you are supposed to do too. Serve the people that you are meant to serve. I would love to hear your feedback. Again, please comment, like, subscribe, and I will be back in a few days to see how I can support you further. Now, with all this said, go forth and make it a positive and a productive day.